Looks like you're in. Good work.
There is no other kind with me, but keeping 13 and the Death Watchers in the dark.
You'll just have to stay out of the spotlight then. That won't be a problem, will it?
Yeah, kiddies, it's MadWorld, 2009's adult video game for the Nintendo Wii. Wave your chainsaws like you just don't fucking care. Let's do a little comparison here, shall we? Internet conversation. This game looks so stylish, oh my god, it looks freaking amazing, there's grayscale shit on my dick! Now then, real life conversation between two people that don't immediately buy into hype. Why is this game in black and white? Platinum Games is made up of ex-Clover Studio developers, the same people that made Okami, and the same people that decided that PS2 graphics looked like shit, and that going for the stylistic approach would probably be successful. Which it was, and it did look good. So why go for the black and white here on the Nintendo Wii? Could it possibly be to cover something up? Okay, I don't mean to be an asshole, but following blind hype can be a foolish move. Truth be told, when I first started the game, I wasn't even that impressed. You start off with zero storyline presentation, and the ultra-violence for the sake of ultra-violence has never been my thing. The enemies bob around like drugged-up idiots as the game encouraged me to stick them with lampposts and then toss them into spikes. Bloody, sure, but I couldn't help but feel that the producers were trying to distract me away from something because I wasn't even finding the base gameplay to be that exciting. I also kind of despised the immediate assault on the senses. Crappy, angry, alternative rap was blasting at me that just wouldn't quit while two jackasses doing color commentary were constantly battling the music for my attention, making focusing on either one rather difficult until you adjusted in the options. The killing animations dragged a slight tiny bit after executing each one 20 times, and it turned out that the level designs were really just small arenas, and that to beat an arena I had to rack up a certain amount of points by grinding the same enemies over and over. So you end up seeing the entire stage within 30 seconds, and then it's just beating up the same enemies until you satisfy the level's requirements. That was my initial impression. And I must repeat for all the doofi out there, initial impression. MadWorld picks up a lot. I'm guessing that Platinum Games was counting on hooking me with pure violence, once again inspired by Fist of the North Star, but I just wasn't biting. Finally though, the story starts kicking in. Steve Bloom of Cowboy Bebop and a million other roles does a fantastic job at capturing the pure badass that Jack turns out to be. The story involves Jack volunteering to enter a city that has been fenced off, where you must kill or be killed in a competition where your kills rack up points. Jack has some ulterior motives though, rather than just making some fat cash, as he meets up with allies and plot twists ensue. It's video game storytelling for sure, but by the end I was really into it. This is Japanese made, but the conventional cliches are not so present, which makes for a story that's pretty fucked up in a way that only the Japanese can make, but with sound production and a great execution. After the first few levels, or about an hour to an hour and a half into the gameplay picks up. Shockingly, the enemies start fighting back, and it takes some skill to finish them off as you dodge around and to the side, hoping to position yourself just right so that you can bat an enemy, pick them up, and throw them into God knows what. I've seen a little bitching about the challenge in some other reviews, and while it is true that if you happen to die on a boss, you must start the entire level over again, which is extremely lame, it probably won't happen very many times, and I actually never ran out of lives once while playing this. Playing a level for the second time does get very tiresome though. The replay value just isn't there. The levels never stop being arenas, and going through the same repetitious motions more than once for any reason gets to be very tiring. The game is also rather short, racking in at about 6 hours when including all the cutscenes. Back to the black and white question. Was it worth it? Here are two honest-to-God opinions of mine that are completely unfair and totally subjective. I was fine with it in this game, but if I had to play more than one black and white game every 3 years, I would not be a very happy camper. Also, I did find myself wondering how this game would have looked in high definition in full color on the Xbox 360. Once again, completely unfair, but it's the truth. The black and white fits the Wii well, but I hesitate to call anything close to being some sort of stylish genius. And really, personally, I would say that the game packs more attitude than anything else. Although I must admit that anything which parodies the great Fist of the North Star has got to rock in some sort of fashion. Towards the end of the game, I was pumped. I was kicking ass, I had a decent handle on the controls, and I could take out the bigger enemies without a sweat. The simple story turned out to be very involving. More parodies and Hollywood nods were coming out at every angle, and I was having a lot of fun. But then, the game ends. As it's still getting better, and when I've finally gotten to the right mode, it ends. The overall experience did leave some to be desired, but I definitely found myself really wanting more. MadWorld at its worst lacks in some content and relies a little too heavily on grinding. It has moments of brilliance, but it's evident that there's a budget issue holding it back, though partially masked, which keeps it from ever being a perfect 10, provided the initial scope that it has. Still though, it's definitely worth a rental and maybe worth purchasing if you truly dig beat 'em up brawler hack and slash style games. MadWorld for the Nintendo Wii receives a 7 out of 10.